feeling it enough. Now this opportunity to lay bare. Ibadan was central to Western region. 2 hours after you have made a decision in Ibadan, Akure had had, Abeokuta had had, Ogbomoso had had. When a decision is made in Kaduna, 6 weeks, they are here to get to us. And we counter that. Not in the days of push button, internet and everything. He said the internet will not work in this matter. It's yet to work in our place. And from Ebonyi came this profound argument. Before the creation of states, our state, Ebonyi State, you could count all the graduates on fingertips. If you're looking for houseboys in Eastern region, they were from Ebonyi. With the creation of our own state, we have been able to pump much money into education, and now we have several graduates. We are not going back to Enugu. Let's find a way around this. And those who are in minority in the north said, we have been oppressed, we want our own states. And now we sat back and said, okay, if there are going to be more states, then there will be parity of states. Just like we took the local government out of the constitution and made it the responsibility of states, let's look at this critically. In the northern part of Nigeria, one zone had 7 states, one had 6 states. The rest had 6 except the southeast that had 5 states. For parity's sake, let's give them one first. And let's consider the merit of others. But if we are going to really be fair to all, then there must be parity of states, and those who are demanding their own states, the minority in the north, wanted 2 here, 2 there. So, okay, these already had 7, let's look at minority there, create 2 more. These had 6, let's create 3 more. Southwest had 6, let's create 3 more. So that each zone will have 9. Now, the wisdom in this is, in negotiation is not my way or the highway. You end up with 54 states, but also in the wisdom of God and the people who serve together. Say, states that want to merge will be free to merge, and they can create zonal commissions. So the fears of those who feel that they will continually be manipulated and marginalized have been cured. The wisdom would dictate otherwise when you see that these states are not viable, is also been provided for, that you can merge and form zonal commissions. So there's no time we'll not go back to zones. Some argued the zone is not recognized by constitution, but others argued the zones are being used for political appointments and everything. So it was not easy when you are negotiating. It's not my way or the highway. It's let's sit together. How can we harmonize all our misgivings, and instead of suspicion, let's allay all fear so that we stay together in the same country, united, and begin to think about development more than putting all our money and salaries in the hands of those who are running our states.
Mr. Chude brought up the issue. He spoke about, okay, now we have harmonized all of this at the conference. Where will these recommendations take us to?
To a certain extent, I think he was right when he said, we would accept the president has the courage and the will. There are 2 issues here. I heard him say, do we have the mandate to draft it? Maybe when you started your opening comment, do we have the mandate to draft a constitution? If you have read the opening comments of the inauguration speech of Mr. President, he said, we need a new document. I can quote the chapter and the verse. We need a new document for our future. Now, we didn't call it draft constitution, but everything that was lopsided in the 1999 constitution had been taken care of. Almost all, not everything, but almost all. You never will think that we'll get state police through. You never will think it will be possible to yank up the local government from the constitution so that states can now be in charge. They can reduce, they can add, they can do what they want with local government. It should be the responsibility of states. So many other things were yanked up. But listen, if the president has the will, it's not difficult. The argument of so many is, oh, you do not have them, you are not elected. The 1979 Constitution, that probably one of the best we have in this country, the people who put it together were not elected. They were appointed over radio, 50 of them. Chief Obafemi declined. He said he wasn't coming. You can call me over radio. 49 people put it together, and a Constituent Assembly followed and brought that constitution into being. But for the military smuggled land use decree or land use act into it, a certain way we can follow this through. Ideally, at the inauguration, in the speech of Mr. President, it was encouraging the National Assembly to pass whatever amendments you are making in respect of referendum in case the people of Nigeria desire that they should go for referendum. But if this will not go to referendum, nothing stops Mr. President. And I think if he's willing to do this, to call for a Constituent Assembly that will ratify this and give us a better constitution than the one that more or less mangled our development hitherto, is up to him. And I hope he will have the courage and the will to do so.
Okay. I just wanted to a few things. First of all, the possibility of moving to the very next level, which is critical, and that ultimately, at the end of the day, would justify all the work that they have done. And the president might have the disposition to want to push it through. He set it up. So, to a very large extent, integrity is also embedded with that in that effort. But we also have realized that this president has found it very difficult to pass essential bills through the National Assembly. Even, it's not just beyond him, it's not just him alone. The Obasanjo administration and so on, over two-third majority at the National Assembly, and key legislation, like for instance, one of the most important, the budget of the country. They have always failed when it comes to passing the budget, even though the principal officers of the National Assembly belong to the ruling party, even though the majority of legislatures there belong to the National Party. And that one is something that has been imposed, especially with regards to the budget, by the law. You understand? Now, this is something outside of the National Assembly. In the first place, many of them were not favorably disposed to that because the argument was that they were doing a parallel, carrying out a parallel responsibility that we should have done, even though they did not do it. Now, when they have something that, like a budget, for instance, that is mandatory for them to pass and pass it on time for the purpose of building the economy or rebuilding the economy, they were not able to do that. Is this something that from the very beginning they were not favorably disposed to? That is one. Then the issue of, yes, when states want to merge, they can merge and so on, but it is also dependent on the will of the National Assembly. Before they have to approve a merging of states or the demerger of states based on the resolutions of the National Conference. That is what I read. Now,
so if that is the argument, if the Constitution is amended to say there is free will in this, you're welcome to merge or not merge, you're welcome to create zonal areas which is used to coordinate things between states. If the Constitution says that,
if the Constitution says that, yes, but the amendment that I read that they are seeking, or the alteration they are seeking, is that states can merge at will when they want to. You understand? They can demerge. They can demerge, but that will be subject to the approval of the National Assembly.
Let's clear that.
That is the document that I read.
He was there.
So let's be corrected.
And let him do the correction.
Because if that is the case, then it brings us back to the issue that Lagos State government had with regards to the local government. After they had gone through all the processes as attested to by the court, by the Supreme Court, they now had to take it to the National Assembly for it to be listed. And that became a problem, and that was why it was...
Okay, let's get past his viewpoint.
If I may use the word luckily, or probably fortunately, if this goes through, and it will go through, and I will tell you my reason why I'm optimistic that it has to go through, because we can't remain in the same inglorious position, keep on marching the same sport and expect a different result. Number one, the states to march is their state assemblies that will first and foremost say, we want to march. When they have done that, even their constituencies will have a referendum within those states that they approve they want to march, is within the states. And when they finish that, they now say, simple majority in the House of Rep and 2/3 majority in the National Assembly. Now, if you think that's a tall order, you are making those in the National Assembly the warlords of our country, the ones who possess all the wisdom in our country, and the rest cannot have a free will and free association. They were not ready to pass what they call doctrine of necessity And when the people of this country rose up, they had to give way because they saw trouble coming their way. The issue we have to consider is, will Nigerians remain this